Hey guys, how's it going? I am here to do the Superstition Book Tag. I was tagged in this by Steve Donahue, so I will leave a link to his video below. Thanks for tagging me, Steve. But this is just 7 questions based on different superstitions. So the first one is Friday the 13th, an unlucky day. What book have you been unlucky to read? And for this, I'm going to go with Discourse on Method by René Descartes. I read that book because I had learned about a little bit about Descartes' philosophy in a history of psychology class, because his philosophy was kind of important in the history of psychology. That whole idea of the mind-body issue is kind of still in a way relevant to psychology, but I just felt like I honestly didn't learn anything from reading the book beyond what I had learned in the class. I feel like the contents of that book can really be summarized on like 1 page, and the rest of it is all just Descartes kind of going on and on about the same thing. So yeah, and I don't really remember any of the specifics that he went beyond the main points. So after I finished it, I was kind of like, okay, why did I read that? But yeah. So second question is, Rabbit's Feet Bring Good Luck. What new release has you hopping with excitement? And I don't generally read new releases, but one book that was released recently that I want to read eventually, I hope. I don't know when, but I've heard a lot of good things about it. It just won the Man Booker Prize. You probably all know what I'm talking about. It's Lincoln in the Bardo by George Saunders. I actually visited the Lincoln Museum last month, and that sort of got Lincoln in my mind, and then got Lincoln in the Bardo in my mind, even though I know that it's not necessarily... It is about Lincoln, obviously, but it's not necessarily it's not like a biopic about him or something, I don't think, based on what I've heard. But still, it got visiting the Lincoln Museum got me thinking about that, and hearing that it won the Booker Prize has made me more eager, and hearing what everyone has to say about it, because from what I've heard, it sounds really good. So yeah. Number 3 is A Cricket in Your House Brings Good Luck. What villain would you never want to find in your house? And I'm gonna go with Macbeth, because if he's in your house, there's a good chance that it won't take him long to start suspecting that you are gonna try to overthrow him and become King of Scotland, and then he will have you assassinated. So yeah, definitely Macbeth. I do not want Macbeth in my house. Number 4, step on a crack and you'll break your mother's back. Show us your most beaten up and battered book. And for this, I have an old book of my grandpa's. My grandpa was a literature professor, so all of his books were beaten up and battered, but this isn't so bad by a lot of standards, but like, you can see the spine is totally just flimsy. It's like, got nothing to it. You know, you got the page coming up there, you know. So yeah, it's not as bad, I'm sure, as some people's, but yeah. Next is Garlic Protects from Vampires and Evil Spirits. What book are you too scared to read? And for this, I have this giant thing, Hermione Lee's biography of Virginia Woolf. This is gigantic. This is about 750 pages. And let me just show you the text. Tiny text, and I mean, this is a tall book, tall and wide book. So like, there are a lot of words in here. And she just goes through so much detail too. I actually did start reading this, and I actually got to about page 500 after like 2 months. But I gave up, and I'm sad I did, because I love Virginia Woolf. I want to learn more about her life, and this was why I bought this biography. But it is so detailed, and I think sometimes I can get bogged down in the details, and that can make it boring, even though I know it shouldn't be, because Hermione Lee's writing is beautiful, and you know, it's not like it's an inherently boring book. I think it's more a problem with me than a problem with the book. So, but yeah. Anyway, so next is Breaking a Mirror Brings 7 Years of Bad Luck. What book could you read for 7 years? And for me, I had to go with The Silmarillion. You know, not only because I love it, and I've already read it 3 times, and I feel like I could read it dozens of more times throughout my life, but it's also has a lot of different stories. I mean, there's the story of Feanor, there's Beren and Luthien, there's Turin Turambar, there is Eärendil. So there's just a lot of different stories to enjoy over the years. And I also love this book immensely, so yeah. Although I have to say that the idea of reading one book for 7 years, like, no matter how much I loved a book, I have a feeling having to read only it for 7 years might still end up ruining it. But I don't know, maybe not. And the last question is, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. What book has the best description of food? And I don't remember descriptions of food from books, but the obvious choice that came to my mind, it's a really boring choice, but George R.R. Martin in his Song of Ice and Fire series, I suspect that if you took just the parts of each of the novels that he's written, where he's describing food, and just put them into one book, it would be like it would be a full-length book. It might not be a George R.R. Martin sized book, but it would be like a 300-page book. But yeah, I mean, it might be more. I listened to Song of Ice and Fire. I read them, and I also listened to them on audiobook, and I think the way Roy Dotrice read out the parts where he describes food are very, I don't know, he says it in a very, like, appetizing way. I don't know on how you speak appetizingly, but he made everything sound very appetizing, even when it was, like, boiled beef and bacon, which I don't eat because I'm a vegetarian, but yeah, I'd have to go with that. So, yeah, that is the Superstition Book Tag. Short and sweet. So, yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Bye!